You know that feeling? You've polished your resume, maybe practiced answers in front of the mirror loads of times,
Oh, yeah,
but then the actual job interview comes, and it just feels like, well, like a total leap into the dark.
completely.
Yeah.
It's definitely a high-pressure moment for anyone hunting for a new job.
And that exact feeling, that uncertainty, even when you think you've prepared, that's what we're digging into today. We're taking a close look at a really interesting tool called JobSim.AI.
Yeah, JobSim.AI. You can kind of think of it as a personal AI-driven practice zone for job interviews. The idea, based on what our sources say, is to, reduce some of that guesswork and stress.
A practice zone, I like that. A place to
Yeah.
really sharpen your game. And it's
And
aimed at
it's
students, yeah, but also really anyone out there trying to navigate the job market to help them, well, ace those interviews. Doesn't matter the field, apparently.
exactly. Whether you're going for, say, a role in tech, or maybe a startup, or even something more research-focused, the tool is meant to adapt. It's sort of like having a really smart guide helping you out.
And for this deep dive, we're not just, scratching the surface. We really want to look under the hood of JobSim.AI, understand what makes it tick and why our sources are suggesting it could genuinely change things up.
We've pulled together quite a bit of material here. We've
Yeah.
got introductory stuff, the big picture view, but also detailed technical descriptions, even some code snippets,
Ugh.
which is interesting.
Code snippets. Okay, now we're really getting into it. Plus, we have background on the project's origins and a YouTube overview that gives a good visual sense. So maybe the best place to start is, why do those traditional ways of preparing often leave us feeling, well, unprepared?
That's the core question, isn't it? Why doesn't the practice always match the game?
Yeah. Like you walk out thinking, that wasn't quite what I practiced for.
Exactly. And our sources really hit on a few key points, like relying on those generic lists of questions or maybe old prep books. It often just doesn't cut it in today's job market. Things change so
Yeah.
fast.
They really do. And what always strikes me is how impersonal the old ways feel. They don't really connect with you, your specific background.
Precisely. It's very much a one-size-fits-all deal. They don't usually consider your unique skills or the specific demands of the job you want or even where you see your career going. It's often just static, kind of irrelevant practice.
Totally. And it feels like some crucial bits are missing. Our sources talk about, the lack of ways to get scored on your answers or get feedback right away on how to improve.
And just practicing out loud, that
Yeah.
often gets missed.
Right. The simple act of actually saying the answers.
Yeah, the verbal part is so key. One source had this great analogy. It's like practicing basketball without a hoop,
Okay. I
With
get
it.
that. You can dribble, you can pass.
right? But you've got no clue if your shot is any good. No feedback on accuracy.
Makes sense. And if you think about that, listener, it's easy to see how that lack of knowing if you're getting better could be, well, pretty demotivating.
Definitely. You put in the time, the effort, but without seeing progress, it's tough to stay driven.
Yeah, that lack of real, tangible progress tracking feels like a big roadblock. One source even described it, pretty harshly actually, as feeling like using a dusty old textbook.
Oof.
Or like trying to get around in 2025 with a flip phone.
Okay, yeah, that paints a picture. Dated tech.
It really emphasizes how out of sync those old methods can feel now. So, this brings us to the main event for you, the listener. How is JobSim.AI trying to fix this? Our sources paint it as this super smart career mentor powered by Gemini AI.
And that AI engine is what promises a more, adaptive and personalized experience. That's the key difference. So maybe we should break down what it actually does.
Good idea. First up, realistic mock interviews. These aren't just random questions. They're AI moderated and specifically tailored for the kind of job you're after, like software engineer or data scientist, that kind of thing.
So specific to the role, not generic. And importantly, on certain platforms like Streamlit, it actually lets you answer with your voice.
Mimicking a real interview setup. And the crucial thing for you listening is how this directly tackles that lack of speaking practice we talked about. It makes you actually articulate your thoughts, maybe under a bit of simulated pressure.
Right. Getting that verbal practice on platforms like Streamlit is huge. It helps you communicate your skills well. It's much more active prep. Okay, what else?
Then there's this feature they call resume superpowers, sometimes resume evolver.
Huh. Interesting names.
Think of it like an AI buddy who gives your resume a critical look over.
Okay, what does this AI buddy do?
It scans your resume, points out weak spots, suggests improvements, like adding those important ATS-friendly keywords, The terms the screening software looks for.
Oh, yeah, getting past the bots.
Exactly. It even keeps track of the changes you make so you can sort of see your resume getting better over time. The tech specifically enables this.
The documentation mentioned a function, I think it was Analyze and Evolve Resume. It's focused on making your language punchier, using strong action verbs, adding quantifiable results.
Yes. Those numbers and strong verbs make a huge difference. And if you think about your own job search, your resume is usually that very first handshake, right?
Absolutely. First hurdle.
So having AI help you sharpen it, find those weaknesses, suggest better phrasing, JobSim.AI aims to help your resume actually get seen.
Makes sense. Helping you make that strong first impression.
Yeah.
What's next? There's feedback involved, too.
Oh, yeah. A big part is the real-time feedback. This is where it gets pretty interesting. After you answer a practice question,
You get feedback.
instantly.
Yeah, you get a score.
Yeah.
Like out of 10. And not just a score, but specific, actionable tips on how to make that answer better. And it's the AI doing this.
Okay. The give feedback function, right? Focusing on things like relevance, clarity.
Depth. Yeah,
Yep.
that sounds like a total game changer compared to just practicing into the void.
It really could be. It creates that immediate learning loop. You're not just guessing how you did. You get actual insights right then and there so you can adjust. Exactly. Refine your answers on the fly, keeps you engaged, motivated. And then there's progress tracking, too.
Right. Visual progress. It uses charts, apparently, to show how your skills are improving session by session.
Yeah, the plot scores function handles that visual side. It gives you something concrete, a way to actually see that your practice is making a difference. It tackles that uncertainty problem head on.
Yeah, seeing those scores go up must be really motivating, and it helps you see, okay, maybe I still need to work on this type of question.
Pinpoints focus areas. Okay, and there was one more key feature involving job descriptions.
Ah, yes, the RAG feature, Retrieval Augmented Generation. This is where the personalization gets really deep.
How does that work?
You can basically paste a job description, say, from LinkedIn or somewhere else directly into the tool.
Okay.
And then, using that RAG tech, the rate review question function was mentioned, it generates interview questions specifically based on that job description.
Wow. So not just tailored to the job title, but to the actual posting you're interested in?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Which means, for you, the practice becomes incredibly relevant to what that specific hiring manager is likely looking for. You're practicing with their requirements in mind.
It's almost like it helps you think like the hiring manager, understand what they need from the role.
Precisely. It's training your brain to anticipate their perspective. Okay, so we know what it does. Let's geek under the hood a bit, the technology.
Sounds good. So the core engine, as we mentioned, is Google's Gemini 1.5 Flash model. Think of it as a fast, powerful AI brain.
Right. And it's not just one AI, is it? It's like a team of specialized AI agents working together.
Exactly. You've got the mock interviewer AI. That's the one using the simulate interview function to create those tailored questions based on your resume, the job.
Yeah.
Feels like a screening interview.
How many questions does it usually ask per session?
Sources suggest around 5 quite targeted ones each time. It's about quality, not just quantity.
Okay, 5 focused questions. Then the resume AI.
Then the resume builder AI, using that analyze and evolve resume function we talked about. It's the critic, suggesting improvements.
Got it. And the feedback one?
And the feedback giver AI, using give feedback to score your answers and give you those improvement tips. So yeah, different AIs for different jobs. But it also remembers you, doesn't it?
Yes, that memory aspect is key. It doesn't just treat each session as new. How does that work technically?
Well, the sources point to a file like userprogress.json, where it stores your data, and functions like save progress, get progress, even counters for attempts, get attempt counter, increment attempt counter, let it track how you're doing over time.
So it learns about you as you practice more.
Exactly. This memory system acts like a persistent coach. It remembers your past performance, sees patterns, and can then offer even more specific advice, focusing on your recurring weak spots, like a good human tutor would.
That makes sense. Now, the voice features, you mentioned some limitations, but also some workarounds.
Yeah, so the initial development happened in Kaggle, which is more for building and testing AI, not always the most user-friendly interface for things like direct voice input.
Right, Kaggle's more of a workbench.
Exactly, but they are using tools like GTTS, Google Text-to-Speech, so you can hear the questions read out loud.
Okay, so you get the audio output, and for input.
For actually answering with your voice, that's where platforms like Streamlit come in. They can handle speech recognition. So think of it like this. The Kaggle notebook has the core AI brains.
And the Streamlit app is the nice front end you interact with, where you
Yeah.
can upload your resume, talk to it, see the charts. Makes sense. Using libraries like Google Generative AI, Matplotlib for plots, Streamlit for the app.
Spot on. And why Gemini 1.5 Flash specifically?
Ah, yeah. Why that model?
Briefly, it's known for being fast and able to handle a lot of context, like your whole resume and a long job description pretty efficiently. For you, the user, this just means it feels responsive, less lag.
Gotcha. Fast and powerful. Okay, so putting it all together, what really makes JobSim.AI stand out for someone prepping for interviews?
I think the main takeaway from our sources is that it's so much more than just a list of questions. It's not static.
Definitely not. It's pitched as this dynamic, personalized simulation. It adapts to you.
Right. It really considers your field, the specific job, your resume, making the practice feel super relevant, not just generic stuff. And that memory system feels like a big plus.
Absolutely. Remembering your progress means the feedback gets sharper over time. It learns where you need help. Plus, pulling in real job details using ARG means you're practicing against real-world expectations.
Yeah, not just theory. And the resume help is a nice bonus, too. Getting that polished before the interview.
For sure. And where you can use voice, that realistic simulation is huge practice, builds confidence in actually speaking your answers. Plus, those visual progress charts.
Yeah, seeing your improvement graphically using plot scores, that's got to be motivating, right?
Definitely. It's also interesting, I think, to touch on the human story behind it.
Agreed. Our sources mention it started as a Kaggle Capstone project, built by students.
Students who were likely facing these same interview anxieties themselves.
Exactly. So it seems born from a real need, a desire to make the whole prep process better, more personal, engaging, effective.
Yeah, for people like them, and really anyone trying to land a job.
Yeah.
And you have to appreciate the effort involved in building something this complex with sophisticated AI like Gemini.
Shows real commitment to creating a better tool for you, the job seeker.
Mhm.
For anyone wanting to dive deeper into that backstory, the sources mention a blog, jobsim4.blogspot.com.
JobSim4.blogspot.com. Good to know. Okay, but to keep it balanced, we should also talk about what it can't do right now, the limitations.
Good point. And the sources are pretty upfront about those. What did they highlight?
Well, like, while it's great with language, it might struggle with really subtle stuff, emotional nuance, deeper personal motivations, unless you state them very clearly. It's not reading between the lines like a person might.
Right. It processes the text. And in that Kaggle environment, without full voice analysis yet, it can't really judge things like your tone of voice or how confident you sound, big parts of a real interview.
True. And while the RG feature is smart, it's not constantly scanning the web for the absolute latest market trends or brand new job openings in real time.
So it's working with the info you give it, like the job description and its training data, not live up-to-the-minute market intelligence.
Correct. But the creators seem to see these less as dead ends and more as, future goals, areas to build on.
Exactly. Exciting possibilities. Things like better emotion analysis, maybe real-time data integration, even video simulation down the road were mentioned as potential developments.
Video sim would be something else. Wow. Okay, so wrapping this up for you, the listener, JobSim.AI really does seem like a genuinely valuable, innovative approach to interview prep.
Yeah, it doesn't matter if you're a student starting out or someone with years of experience looking for a change.
Absolutely. That focus on personalization, the actionable feedback, tracking your progress, it all points towards something that could seriously boost confidence and sharpen skills beyond what old methods offer.
So if this sounds intriguing, definitely check out that blog again, jobsim4.blogspot.com. And if you can, maybe give JobSim.AI a spin yourself on Kaggle or the Streamlit app, see how it feels.
Worth exploring for sure.
So maybe the final thought to leave you with is this. As you plan your next career move, could harnessing AI like this be the key? Could it help turn those interview jitters into, well, confident steps towards the job you really want?